Welcome back to the Tom and Ken Show. Today is January 20th, 2012, and this is the second edition of the State Bar of Georgia Legislative Update. With me I'm Ken Shigley, President of the State Bar. With me is Tom Bowler, who's a longtime legislative representative for the bar. Tom, would you say we have a pretty healthy relationship over at the Capitol with the lawyer in the governor's office?
I think we have a great relationship. We've always had good relationships. The House and the Senate, the leadership, the key committee chairmen, members of House and Senate Judiciary Committees work with us very well. They don't always see it our way, but we have every opportunity to make our case to the members of the legislature, and I think we have a very good relationship.
Well, what's going on with the budget related to the judiciary?
Yeah, this is budget week. As many of you know, it's tradition that the second week of the legislature the legislature takes a recess. We use it to honor Martin Luther King holiday on Monday, and the remaining of this past week has been spent in budget hearings. And essentially, the governor prepares a budget. He adds the judicial budget to his budget. Because of the separation of powers, the judiciary's budget is separate and cannot be amended by the governor. But they combine their two budgets and send those budgets to the legislature. And this week is one where the legislature in joint House and Senate Appropriations Committees review those budgets prepared by the governor and the judicial branch. This week, the agency heads, department heads, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court all met with the Appropriations Committee members and went through their budgets, answered questions, talked about areas that needed increases, discussed areas that they might be able to cut. From our standpoint, I think there are a couple of interesting items that you may be interested in, items that affect lawyers. As you know, we are on an FY fiscal year of July to July. So this spring, during this legislative session, we'll be doing a projected budget based on expected revenues for FY13. And at the same time, the legislature will be looking at FY12's budget to make any adjustments due to reduced revenues in some areas, unexpected expenses, to make the adjustments in the FY12 budget as well. In FY12, a couple of items that are under review right now. Because of the loss of IOLTA funds that helped fund the Appellate Resource Center, the judicial branch has asked for a $200,000 increase in the FY12 budget for the Appellate Resource Center to account for the loss of those IOLTA funds. Similarly, because of some unexpected expenses on handling conflict cases in the Public Defender Standards Council, there's been a request for an $800,000 increase in the FY12 budget for the Public Defender Standards Council to cover those conflict costs. In the FY13 budget, clearly the state budget is a $19 billion budget this year. The judicial budget, as a part of the state budget, is a $17 million budget. So you can see the judicial branch of government gets less than 1% of funds expended by the state in each budget year. And that has been fairly typical for the last, ever since I've been working with the State Bar. The judicial branch gets about 1% or a little bit less than 1% of the total state budget. But the Public Defender Standards Council is one of the critical budget areas. It's indigent defense is kind of a third rail for lawyers and for the State Bar, much like Social Security is in the federal budget. The Public Defender Standards Council has been budgeted over the last, since we went to a statewide public defender system, has been budgeted in the $35–38 million range. At the same time, when the Public Defender Standards Council was created, we also created a $15 filing fee for all civil filings to fund that program. Those filing fees have generated each year in the neighborhood of $41 to $43 million, in that range. But the budget for the Public Defender Standards Council has been in the $35 to $38 million range. This year, for the first time, Governor Deal has recommended a Public Defender Standards Council budget that is in excess of $40 million. He is coming very close to budgeting the entire amount of what is projected to be raised by the filing fees. And I think without question we can say that Governor Deal gets it when it comes to meeting our constitutional obligations to fund indigent defense. In addition to the Public Defender Standards Council budget, there is the funding for legal services for victims of domestic violence. As many of you are aware, that is a program that was begun and advocated by the State Bar. It was created under the leadership of Linda Klein when she was president of the State Bar in the 90s. And we have successfully kept about a $2 million budget item in the court's budget to provide legal services for victims of domestic violence, and we will be working this year to maintain that funding level. Again, the Resource Center is another key item in the budget. This year, because of the reduction of IOLTA funds available to assist in funding the Resource Center, the courts are asking for an $800,000 budget for the Resource Center. I think most people don't understand that the representation of death row appeals is an important way to move these cases forward. Without proper funding, the cases slow down. The slower they go, the longer they take, the more expensive it is for state government because it just costs more to keep these inmates at $51+ a day. It takes a lot of money to fund keeping these inmates, death row inmates, in prison. So the speedier we can handle these cases, the speedier the process is, and the resolution, the cheaper it is for the state. And finally, one of the key new money sources, or not sources, one of the key new funding elements in the state budget when it comes to the judicial branch is the funding of drug courts, accountability courts, that is being recommended by the report of the Criminal Justice Reform Commission. The governor has put $10 million in the budget for that activity. And so we'll be working to keep that money in the budget in 2013, FY 2013. Ken, there are a couple of other items that we ought to talk about, bills that are going to be coming up next week in the session. How about a few of those?
Well, it's a good segue talking about the drug and DUI court money last. Of course, $10 million is a down payment on something that will ultimately be more extensive, but we'll have to have reinvestment from savings in other parts of the system. The Criminal Justice Reform bill is not out yet. The Bar Committee on Criminal Justice Reform will have considerable input into the drafting process, which is ongoing. A few other bills of interest to the Bar, excuse me. House Bill 46, Representative Mike Jacobs' bill, is the Uniform Interstate Depositions and Discovery Act. It got caught in the traffic jam at the end of the session last year. I expect it will pass with the Bar's support. That will somewhat streamline the process for interstate discovery. Representative Golick sponsored a constitutional amendment to assure that the indigent defense funds actually go to indigent defense. We've endorsed that and we'll be at the hearing next week. Senator Carter from DeKalb County has introduced legislation that the Bar has endorsed to extend the attorney-client privilege in juvenile matters to the parents and guardians of the juveniles. We've endorsed that. Some other bills that we're tracking but have not taken a position on yet. First, regarding the DUI courts, which are a priority for the governor. Senator Calzert from Athens has introduced legislation to authorize DUI court judges to grant limited driving permits to people going through those programs so they can actually get to work. The International Commercial Arbitration Code, I don't believe the bill has dropped yet, but the bar has endorsed legislation to help facilitate more international commercial arbitration in Georgia. We hear about the Port of Savannah as part of infrastructure for Georgia's role in the global economy. Well, this is another piece of it. The Juvenile Code proposal is kicking around. I expect we'll see more efforts to resolve the conflicts over resource issues that have held it up, but stay tuned on that. The Jury Composition Reform Act will have some technical corrections. There's legislation sponsored by the Superior Court clerks, but opposed by the Judicial Council. That includes a lot of moving parts, and we'll be taking a look at that. And finally, something to put on your calendars. The House has passed a resolution once again declaring March 6th Peanut Butter and Jelly Day in Georgia. So mark your calendars and get down to the Capitol to get your peanut butter and jelly on March 6th.
And let me say, next week coming up, the Chief Justice will be giving the State of the State, State of the Judiciary speech on Thursday, the 25th. It's at 11 o'clock. You can tune in by going to the Georgia Bar website, and that'll provide you to a direct link to listen to her speech, probably 11 o'clock or so on Thursday morning, the 25th.
Thanks, and give us any feedback and suggestions that you have. Thank you.